Welcome to Agent Tech Talk with Luis Marino and Max Baumgardner, where insurance pros get smarter about tech. Our mission, making technology simple, practical, and powerful for insurance professionals everywhere.
Max, man, so glad to have you again, man.
Hey, Luis, how are you?
Man, you know what? I'm getting pulled in so many directions. They're going to pull me apart, man.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That seems like a lot of people today. There's a lot of different things they're doing, especially as an insurance agent. You've got the health side in that agency, and then you've got the P&C side, and then an active YouTube channel and some other things going on. So yeah. Oh, and we didn't even mention your family. So, which is also a priority for you. So
man,
I get it. I understand.
They're kicking my butt. They're kicking. I'm like, yesterday missed half a day of work because of one kid. Now we got the other one getting this. It's all good. It's you know what? I will tell you this, Max. It makes the day fly.
Yes,
Before
it does.
I know it. It's like 12 o'clock. I literally, if you told me, Luis, it's 9:30, I would have been like, yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah.
But man, let's jump in today. We're in episode 4, guys. All right. Max with Max Creative, what he does and what I'm bringing to you guys is the tech side of the insurance business. So what happens with us agents is that we're very good at what we do. Okay. And what we do is we sell insurance. We know our product. We know how to talk to people. We know how to close the deal. The key thing with technology, guys, is this. Technology is going to help bring those people to us. That's ultimately what we want. Okay. The more people that come to us, the better. Okay. So one of the things that we leverage is a website, which is what today's topic is, the insurance agency website, what every agency site needs to convert leads. This is huge, guys. We want people to go to our site, most definitely. And it does nobody any good, maybe them because they get some information. But what we want is we want them to fill out a form that gives us a lead that we can now do what we do very well. So, man, how does that sound for an intro there, Max?
There you go. Yep, let's do it. We're here to help people with some of these tasks that, at least give people a general understanding. Some of this will be, we present it in a way that's DIY, but, if you ever do need help, we can offer solutions for that too, or you can look for them on your own, but at least you'll know what you're talking about, with some of these. Even some of the terms that are used in tech are escaping people. So that's what we're going to do with this program. It's free. There's no ask other than you just tell other people about it and join. Obviously, go ahead and comment your questions to Luis as we go through this. Okay, we can get started if you want, Luis.
Let's do it. And then, guys, I will tell you this. This is kind of something that I want to share. I am going to share Max's email. Okay, so the reason I have collaborated with Max is because he's building out my website. Okay, so if you've got a website, maybe you have a cookie cutter website and it's not doing anything for you, man, reach out to Max. He's got several packages that he's put together and he can help do what we're trying to show you guys here. So let's definitely jump into it, Max. Here we go. Let's share the screen and let's rock and roll.
All right, so websites, what your website needs, as Luis already talked about, Luis, you just mentioned if your website's a cookie cutter website, then you may need to do something with it. You had mentioned previously in the other episodes or one of the other episodes that you just looked at your website as a brochure, really didn't pay much attention to it. But we both agreed that when you get organic leads from your website, organic leads, other than referrals, warm referrals from customers, I mean, that's great. That's what you want. You want organic leads. You want to be showing up in search. You want to be, some people talk about how SEO is dead. I completely disagree. That camp is divided right down the middle. I will say that AEO, which we did it last episode 3, we talked about AEO, which is Answer Engine Optimization. That's coming on strong, and that's for devices. So just think of, in simple terms, think of Siri or Alexa and asking a question, life insurance agent near me. So instead of showing a list, what's coming soon is there will be an answer, period. Not a list, an answer. So who do you suppose is going to be the answer in most markets? Well, all research is indicating that it's going to be someone who has the best web presence, who already has the SEO game knocked out. You know, they're already doing it. They're already adding new content to their website. Their website's being crawled, you know, by Google, and they have the basics done right on their website. And that's what we're going to get into here. So first and foremost, your site needs a clear, compelling headline, you know, and make it about, I'm a big fan of making it about the person coming to your website. So instead of you, you know, we provide all of your insurance solutions. Oh gosh, yawn. Come on. You know, do you think everybody else is going to say something similar? Yes. But make, if you sell Medicare, you know, something like, in this, I'm not saying this would be the best headline. Think of it, you know, think about it for a little while. Use ChatGPT if you're stuck. You know, what do you do? What do you specialize in? Do you specialize in making the complex easy for people in your community? Well, there's an idea. There's a prompt for you to use. Okay. Think about it and make that headline, you know, make that something that passes the who cares test. That's all I'm saying. And then a strong call to action. You know, I'm a big fan of websites that have the phone number in the top right corner. You know, it's visible. Okay. And then also that phone number is automatic. So like if they're looking at it on a mobile screen, they can click to call in the moment. That's what you want. You don't want to have somebody have to write down, you know, some insurance agents have websites where there isn't a click to call. So, you know, you got to actually look at the website. Let's say you're on your phone, look at the website, you know, you can push the button, but it doesn't do anything. So you have to write down the phone number, stop that stuff, make it super simple. And with today's technology, it's really simple to do a click to call. Same with your website. You know, if somebody's looking at your website on a desktop or on a tablet, make it super simple for them to get in touch with you. I'm also a big fan of a form above the fold, what they say. So that references an old newspaper term, by the way. So for those of you old enough to remember newspapers, yeah.
I still subscribe to one. I still get it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Good for you. But you'll notice that where the fold is on a paper, like even if you go to say a 7-Eleven or a convenience store where they still have newspapers, they're going to put their biggest headline and try to have a picture to capture your attention above the fold. Okay. Well, the same is true for a website. Even though there's no fold, that's the methodology behind it. So anything above the fold, which would mean if you go to a desktop, anything above the bottom of the screen-ish, okay, that is where you want, you know, you want your call to action, your CTA, you want your headline, you know, obviously a good image in the hero. The hero is that part, okay, above the fold. That's the hero of a website, trying to help you with these terms. Okay, you want something that gets their attention. Okay, you do. Not just, you know, I had one insurance person that I dealt with, agency, had a picture of mountains. You know, that was the hero. I mean, you know, and this particular person lives in the Midwest. They don't even live near mountains, but that was the hero on their webpage. And I just asked, was very kind, said, you know, what's with the mountains? It's like, oh, I just thought it was a good picture. Okay, fair enough. But is that, you know, is your customer going to find you coming to look for a picture of mountains? I don't know. We could debate that the rest of the afternoon, but I think not. So make it about what you do. Even if it's a picture of your staff in front of your building, smiling, you know, just all of you smiling. You know, we're here to help you. We make Medicare and ACA policies easy to understand, you know, whatever it is within regulation. But, and then a simple lead capture form, like I talked about, a contact form, and click to call, click to text. Both those buttons are really, really super, super important on your website. And just audit yourself. If you don't have that on your website, you know, audit yourself and make sure that you're moving in that direction. So
Max, go do me
yeah, go ahead.
Picture of mountains, and I live in San Antonio. and we
Okay.
barely have some hills.
Okay.
So again, doesn't make any sense. Now, you mentioned a lead form.
Yeah.
And the call to action, the click to text, the click to make a phone call.
Let me go back here.
I can't believe how many sites I have to go to, or how much scrolling I have to do to go find a phone number. And you're right.
Right. Yeah. That's
I
crazy.
got to go to the contact us, and then of course it wants an email. And like, no, I want a phone number, and I've got to do some hunting.
Right. And I don't know if you can hear me, Luis. You're
fine.
freezing up there, buddy. So, yep.
How
That's
about
okay,
now?
though.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, how hard is it? It shouldn't be hard for somebody to find your contact information. And,
Right.
and the lead form, Max, when somebody fills that out, ultimately that's a lead, right? I mean, that's what they're asking a question. They're wanting a quote.
Sure. Yeah.
How it should be super easy for them to fill that out. I like that.
Yeah, make it really simple for them to do business with you. My gosh, think about how distracted we all are every day, and it's getting worse. It's not going to get better anytime soon. So you have to pay attention. That old term, pay attention to, and then focus on things. Otherwise, they never get done. So if you're expecting somebody who's scrolling through the internet, or searching for somebody that offers what you offer, they come to you, they land on your site. Your hero, it has nothing to do with whether they're on their phone or on the desktop. It has nothing to do with what answers their question. Answer their question in 5 seconds and make it super simple to do business with you. Yes, there are people who are going to look at the rest of your website and spend some time and vet you out. I could come up with and will come up with some credible evidence, credible research that says most people, when they're looking for insurance, they want the phone number and they want to talk to somebody as quickly as possible, right? So, I mean, and then again with the lead forms, a lot of people have lead forms on their websites. In all businesses, we have legacy businesses that are contractors and service business providers, and home services. And it astonishes me that when they get a lead, and in most of our customers' cases, it drops into a CRM. It astonishes me that some people don't get on that lead right away. I get it if you're a one-man band. I understand that. There's only so much you can do, or maybe there's a couple of you and you just don't have the bandwidth. I totally understand that. I've been there myself. But what I can tell you is you need to get on that lead within 15 minutes. Okay. And if you have Agent CRM, which Luis has talked about many times, and he'll have the link in his in the description of this video to Agent CRM, but that will do it automatically for you. So they'll get a text and or an email. The person, so that's the first step. That buys you a little bit of time. At least you're acknowledging them and starting a conversation. But don't let it go past an hour. And Harvard Business Review did a study on that. When people let leads go past an hour, it drops proportionately. The chance of you getting somebody to, set up an appointment or close a sale drops in direct proportion to how quickly you follow up with the lead. So do you have that in your organization, Luis? Do you have that like a kind of an SOP on how leads are handled?
Well, we used to buy a lot of leads, and here's kind of where I have evolved. Guys, buying leads, I'm like, I don't have a very positive outlook on buying leads because I know they're shared. I don't know what they're using to incentivize people to fill out these forms. Right. But this was crazy, Max. I would get a lead in my email. I literally would hit print, go to the printer, grab it, walk it to one of my guys, say, call. Guy would call, and they're like, you're the 10th person that called me. Leave me alone. Right. And we're like, okay. So I was always very proactive. Like, we're going to call. I paid money for that lead. Sure. It's just so weird why it took so long for that to happen. All right. Yeah. So that's why we're doing this, is for us to generate our own organic leads that aren't shared with anybody. So 100%, guys, with the CRM, what you want to do is you want to build out, and we have already something built out, where the lead comes in, a contact is created, and then they immediately get a text and email. Hey, Max, thank you. I'm going to reply to you, or I'm going to call you back from this number.
Right.
Stand by, give me a few minutes, and I'll give you a call. I'll be glad to help you with whatever they're asking for. And so not only do they receive something, because what you said, the acknowledgement is good, but then you want to get a notification that you just got a lead. So you want to get a text in your phone. You want to get an email. Hey, Luis, you just got a lead. Let's go, buddy. Give them a call. And then also the other deal that I have built out is the CRM has this call feature, which is automatic. It calls me first. I punch a key, then it calls the insured, and then immediately we are connected through the CRM. Okay, super cool. Through the CRM, and now we're having a recorded conversation, and now we can start the process of working that lead.
Yeah, and that agent CRM. Yeah, exactly. And that call will be located in that contact file forever in agent CRM, which is nice too. Yeah,
most definitely.
Yep. So some more things for your website here. Obviously, we've talked about the importance of reviews and testimonials. Reviews and testimonials are two different things. Reviews, I want you to think of Google reviews. I still am a big believer that Google reviews are the best. Some people say, oh, no, it's not all Google. Well, 90% of searches are on Google still, so I want to get that right. Where 90% of the searches are, that's what I'm most interested in. But I did read some research, and maybe you have too, if you're following along here, that Google also pays attention to signals from other services, other platforms. So just think of Meta, for instance. If you can get a review on Meta or Facebook, then Google pays attention to that. So I don't know why, but they do pay attention to that. So Yelp, some of these other places, we talked about citations before, or listings. So that would be your business listing on all the various platforms, including the ones I mentioned and some other ones. We can go back to that at some point, or you can go to a previous episode and learn more about listings. Maybe we'll do a whole episode on listings coming up here.
Okay.
But that's important. So you need reviews, testimonials. If you have a picture of a customer and you can put what they said in quotes under their picture on your website, that's fantastic. There's also services that can be built into WordPress websites where it can actually be a carousel of people. So it's a little bit of a visual where you can have one person, then it goes to the next person, then it goes to the next person. That'd be a carousel. So you can do that. There's different ways you can showcase them, but testimonials are important. If you have video testimonials, in my humble opinion, that's gold. So, you could have it live on YouTube in an unlisted status, and then you could have it appear on your website. So your testimonials could be real people. And I think that's fantastic. At least that's a personal preference. I would much rather see a quick video it doesn't have to be 15 minutes long, but like a couple 2-3 minute video of what the customer's experience was, say with Luis, So, I think that's valuable. Hopefully
I agree.
That makes sense. Photos of real people instead of stock photos. We build websites for clients. We're doing one for one of Luis's businesses right now. And I've encouraged him, and he's going to oblige. He's going to provide us with some photos. We've got access to good stock photos just like everybody does. But I still feel like real photos are just a bit different. And I feel like most people looking at your website, whether it's on a desktop or on a phone, they can tell the difference, So I would always encourage real photos. That's me personally.
I agree.
And the about us on any website, that's where you do your about you. That's why it's called about us. So in my opinion, the hero, the front page on your website where they're landing to see it for the very first time should be about the person, should be about the customer. Answer their question in a headline. Have the picture kind of complete the story, if you will. So your smiling faces, everybody in your office, we can help you. We want to help you with blank. Those sorts of things work way better than, we're the top insurance producer in the area. We're the biggest. We got 90 agents. Nobody cares. Really, they don't. Family owned for, 100 years. Okay, fantastic. I want the best service. I want the best quote. That's what I'm interested in. I don't care about your history, at least at this point. And that's where I think a lot of people make a mistake on their website. I really do. But the About Us page, that's where you go ahead and do your thing. So if you were given awards, you were recognized by, if you're captive, obviously you're recognized by your carrier, or if you're not captive and you did something, you got some accolades, or maybe you helped some people in your community with a charity you're involved in, whatever that may be, go ahead and brag a little bit about yourself or your agency or the people in your agency on the About Us page. That's what the About Us page is for. And then it adds credibility. So like if you have, a great Better Business rating, or you're a member of the chamber, or whatever the case is, that's where that stuff should go on the About Us page, in my opinion. Not everybody agrees with that. But again, I'm all for making the website when they land about the person, and, overwhelm them with, we are the answer.
Right.
It's hyper competitive now. So you need to make it easy to navigate and send the message that you came to the right place. We got you. We can help you. Anyway, so there's a couple of things. There's a little graphic there. Third-party trust signals. I did mention the BBB. For me, I don't know, Luis, does that matter to you now when you deal with somebody who's Better Business Bureau? I don't know if that's, what do you think about that?
I think from an agent point of view, no. Okay. Because I don't have a BBB rating. I've never tried to get one.
Okay.
Now, I was part of a chamber. I think if you're part of a chamber, maybe if you're going after a business and they're also part of the chamber, maybe that sways them to do business with you because you are a part of the same chamber. Possibly. But I think more on that stuff, that's great stuff to put on the About Us.
Yeah. So if you have it, why not flaunt it? For agents that are just getting started, they might not want to pay the whatever it is. I don't even know what BBB is nowadays. I thought it was $700, if I'm not mistaken, for some organizations. So, some people might want to go forego that if they're just getting started, because there's enough startup costs. But still good to put your designations there on the About Us page, and anything to build trust, basically. Right?
Most definitely. And for us agents, on the ACA side, we get these awards from CMS on how much, whether we're an elite agent or a circle of champions. Definitely, that's the kind of stuff you want to post out there. If you're a Medicare agent or a life agent and you've been awarded an achievement for production, great, put those out there. It may make a difference. It may sway them. Here's also what I want to leverage. I didn't think about telling you about this, but on the About Us, definitely I want to put veteran owned. That also may sway somebody. Oh, you know what? Sure. Let's between me and that guy, and if we got the same price and they want to go with somebody who's veteran owned, why not put that out there? I think in the About page, I'm even thinking maybe on the front page, so a client can know right off the bat. I think that goes.
Why not? Right.
A long way. Sure thing.
Yeah, that's absolutely. And I understand that, I understand that, especially if you're talking to someone who understands the sacrifice, and how valuable that is to be dealing with somebody that's a veteran. So yes.
And I will tell you this, and this is true. I'm looking for a friend of mine likes to go hunting. And so we're going to go hog hunting soon. And he's like, dude, you got to get you a thermal scope. I'm like, started doing some research. Everybody quotes the same price for this thermal scope, but I'm going with a guy that's about an hour away and he's veteran owned, and I didn't have to research that he was veteran owned. It popped up. Hey, veteran owned. He didn't even talk about it when I'm watching it. It's his site says veteran owned. I'm like, okay, that kind of swayed me to go with him as opposed to going with that other guy. And so it made a difference. It does. I think it does make a difference.
And I try to be careful because, I made some comments earlier that could rub people the wrong way. Maybe it does matter to you that somebody's family owned. Okay. Maybe it does matter. And I understand that. Maybe it does matter if it's female owned. Maybe it matters if it's LGBTQ owned. Maybe, so there's different things. And I'm not telling you to do it any certain way. What I'm saying is I see the research. The research is readily available online too. So, you can kind of come up with a recipe that's best for you. What I would strongly discourage, however, is making, the whole hero, that place where they land, only about you and nothing about the person. I would just discourage that. Try to flip the funnel around, if you will, and look at it from their perspective. Like when they land, what's first impressions? And going all the way back to the beginning of this talk, some people have templatized websites, not even WordPress templatized,
Right.
but really basic. Like they go to, I don't know, you can come up with one of the Weebly, for instance. Okay. And so they click on one, and then they just kind of fill in their name and they change out a couple of photos, and then that's their website.
Yep.
I don't know if you're up against somebody in your market. We did this two episodes ago, where we checked out Luis's market, and we found out who was ranking at the top or near the top for some of the same services he provides. And their website, Luis got it instantly. He's like, wow. He goes, I understand this. So
it was so simple that I liked it. I'm like, boom, hey, mine's all complicated. It's got all this great info. It's like I'm trying to educate somebody. I'm like, no, all they want is a quote. Man, just give me what you need so I can get a quote. It was so simple that it was just really good.
And with for those of us that do Medicare, obviously somebody can do Medicare at cms.gov. They can. All right. But my experience has been, and I'm not an experienced agent, I'm an experienced digital marketer. That's how Luis and I met, because I'm a licensed agent. So is my wife, but I haven't always been a licensed agent. That's just been within the last 2 years. But what I've already found out in my short little insurance career is Medicare people that, if you tell them, hey, you can do all of this at cms.gov, which they can, that's a true statement. But I don't know what your experience has been. Mine's been, they get lost quickly, or they are like, oh my gosh, it's too much for me. I actually think the CMS site does a really good job for certain things. I still go and look at it and learn some things. But that's what we're trying to do. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's our number one objective, is to help the insured, the beneficiary, navigate it and align them with the best product. So
that is correct.
Yeah. So content that educates, back to the website here, the goal at hand, service pages for each product line. Do you know what that means, Luis?
You know what? Yes. I mean, my version of it is, maybe you have a auto page. If you're a P&C agent, a home insurance page, maybe a commercial page, maybe a under 65 page, or an over 65 Medicare page.
Correct.
That's what I'm seeing what that is.
Spot on. That's exactly what it is. Sometimes people will do these websites and they'll put all of their services on one page, and that kills you. I mean, seriously, you do not want to do that unless you are truly using your website just to, pass the sniff test that you're legit, and you just use it as a flyer and you can care less. Chances are, if that's you're not going to be watching this tech talk anyway, but that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. So Luis is 100% correct. So, on your auto insurance page, you're going to want to have educational blog posts about auto insurance, or you can have and I don't want to get too convoluted here or confuse too many people. You can categorize your blogs on most platforms. Okay. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. And there's a way to see the blog on that service page. You can also do FAQs about that particular service on that particular page. So auto insurance questions, in the last episode, Luis did it on the fly. He used ChatGPT and said, what are some typical questions that, someone looking for auto insurance would answer, or ask rather. And then give me a list of those questions and some answers. And that's how quick it is that you can get that information. You can also, just pay attention. Or if you've been an agent for a long time, Luis, over 25 years. So, Luis can come up with these in his head. I remember somebody asking me this, or I remember somebody asking me that. Maybe you watch and you can do the exact same thing. But those are valuable bits of information, not only for someone looking at your website, but for Google. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So it's good. So their whole goal, make no mistake, their whole goal with your website, they want to make sure if they send somebody to your website that you are answering the question. That's what their whole goal is. So if you think of everything from that perspective, is what I have on my website valuable to somebody? That usually will help you. Explainer videos or agent introductions. You could do the agent introductions in the middle of the homepage if you want to, like, Luis, hi, this is Luis, and I'm here in my office. Boy, we're so glad you came and visited us on the web today. Here's what we do. That's okay. You can also do it in the About Us section. You could have your agents do it. You could have an agent that specializes in auto or P&C on that page. There's a bunch of different ways you could do it, but those explainer videos work, especially if they live on YouTube. Okay. If they live on YouTube, keep in mind that YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world, and they're owned by Google. Not only that, everything you put on YouTube gets transcribed automatically anyway. Okay. So it's going to benefit you with the SEO. So think about that. Just, think it's not this. I mean, the only hard part to any of this is making the time and focusing on it. That's really the hardest part. The rest of it, the technical stuff, you can get through relatively easy. If you have somebody to ask, you can always email Luis or myself. You can always look at YouTube for how-to videos. That's what I do. I mean, I think I watch YouTube more than anything else. I like to read, but I love to watch YouTube for everything, answers questions. Right. So you can be that answer in your market is basically what I'm saying. So anything more?
We got a few comments, Max, but they're a little bit off topic. So I'm going to wait until we get done, and then I'll definitely jump into the question that they're asking.
Okay. Sounds good. Technical aspects, we've talked about this before. We're still talking about your website. You need to make sure that it loads fast and that it's mobile responsive. So mobile responsive means, that your website looks the same. And then when you put it on your phone, it's not going to look the same as far as space, but that it adapts. It's responsive to a different device. That's exactly what that means. Same thing with tablets. Okay. So some people will get their website looking fantastic on a desktop, and then you go look at it on the phone and like half the heroes cut off, or you can't see the phone number. That's because it wasn't a responsive site, or they didn't take the time inside the software, whatever they're using. Let's say they're using WordPress, and it's not sized right. Those sorts of things matter. Like if you go to somebody's website and it loads slowly, there is research out, and I can't remember if this was, can't remember who put this out, but Google, maybe it was Google in one of the reports that they put out. If they have a bad experience the first time, 89% will never be back. That's a true story, according to them. 89%, if they land on your website and they have a bad experience for whatever reason, it didn't load right, loaded slow, misinformation, they're never coming back. So, it's just like a first impression. Do you want to have a good first impression or not? Luis said he used to use his for basically a flyer, which is not a bad thing, really. But that flyer, needs to be really buttoned up. It needs to really look great. So some more technical aspects, live chat or chat bot, if you can do it, there's services now that can do this. One of them that I know from a business associate that I had, introduced me to Apex Chat. So Apex Chat, they provide that service. They're just one. Those of us that are in the high level, ecosystem, high level has their own, and you can actually build your AI bot inside the high level ecosystem. I've heard mixed reviews on the effectiveness. Obviously, you can't make outgoing calls on Medicare. We won't get into the weeds on that, but I mean, if you're an agent, you already know what we're talking about. SEO optimization, as far as your website, critically important. It really is. I mean, you could quit watching this and Google right now, or go to YouTube in the browser and say, "Is SEO dead?" And you'd find literally a million videos that say, "Yep, SEO's dead." I don't agree with that. I do not agree with that. Can somebody in a large market go from obscurity to the very top, I would say no. I would say no. You can. How much money do you want to spend, first of all, because that's what it's going to cost you is a lot of money. And how much time and focus are you going to put into it? Okay. Can you rank better than non-existent? Of course you can. And I think it's very important. And it starts with, making sure that SEO optimization, which we did an episode on, episode number 2. Go back and have a look at that. Plus your privacy policy and compliance language, critically important. It really is, especially if you're using a CRM, like Agent CRM. If you have a contact form built for you in Agent CRM, that is even more important now because the phone numbers inside that CRM come from a company called Twilio. And then Twilio, they A2P certification, which if you don't know what that is, and you have to do it yourself, you'll have nightmares.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Oh my gosh. And we could maybe do an episode on that too. A2P certification, it makes you want to run into a brick wall full speed. Sometimes it really does. So, high level people say that they think they're going to have it be better here real shortly. Bottom line is there are laws in place, and to the best of my knowledge, the laws were put there to reduce the number of scam, and, just horrible phone calls, spammy phone calls. That was kind of the engine behind the A2P certification. And, we're all glad for that, right? How many spam phone calls do we all get? We all hate them. But there's something in your privacy policy and compliance language, how you handle phone calls that you need to make sure that you get right. And we can provide that for you too, like an example, or point you in the right direction if you ever need that. So.
Very good.
And then, like as always, we're going a little long here, and sorry if I'm talking too much, Luis. I apologize, buddy.
No, you're fine. You're right on.
Maxoutcreative.com is the website. There's a little place there that you can get it's a base level report of your website, and we've had I've seen a few people do that. Get a base level report. If you want a more in-depth one, I'm an open book. Some of the tools that I use, I like Search Atlas, searchatlas.com. You can do your own there if you'd like to. I don't get any, they're not paying me for that. I do have a referral link, but it's not on the screen. So go there on your own if you'd like to. Also a company called Bright Local, which is in the UK. I feel like they do a pretty good job with reports too, to let you kind of see where you stand in relationship to, your marketplace and your competitors. In both of those reports, you're going to get stuff. If you're not familiar with in this world, you're going to get stuff that you don't understand. That's fairly normal, but you'll get a good snapshot as to, especially on the Bright Local report, as to, how you're ranking. It'll tell you that, if there's technical problems, it'll tell you that, and it'll go through what they are. So you can take that back to your web provider and say, here's a list of some things that are wrong. Your web provider may go, these aren't important. I've had that happen a million times. It's not important. It's like, okay, well, it might not be important to you, but it's important to Google. And since they're running the search traffic, I would like to do as much as we can to mitigate, like if you fixed all the alt tags, for those of you who know what that is on your website, is that, let's say you have some of them that aren't right or non-existent even. Is that going to rocket you to the top of search? No, it's not. But I'm a big believer that all of the things that you do, all of the things are like spokes in a wheel on a bicycle, not just one or two and then hope for the best, but doing all of the things that you can that are within your control, I think is very important. All righty. You said you had some questions?
Yeah, we've got one here, Max, and I will tell you, I did this analysis report also, and my grade was, again, cookie cutter website. So my goal, guys, with you all, if you're trying to think of like, all right, why does Luis have Max out here? What's the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal here, guys, is this: creating a very good website that brings us leads. That's it. That's the bottom line. Organic leads. Maybe we're advertising. Maybe we're creating videos on YouTube. Maybe we're creating ads on or post on social media. We're trying to get all these people to somehow lead to our website so that they can look at us and ultimately decide, you know what, I want to work with these guys, and I'm going to enter some, I'm going to put some information on the website so that they can contact me for a quote. That's ultimately what we want. So guys, here's again, I will put Mac's email up here. Connect with him. He has a series of packages that you can pick, good, better, best. Decide what you want to get, what works with your budget, and have him build you out a consumer-facing website that is good. That's the key, guys. And it's not cookie cutter. He's designing this for you and whatever lines of business you offer. I will go ahead and answer this question. It's off topic, but it's kind of agents helping agents. So an agent here, Diaz068 asking. We'll post a question on here. Is how will you guys enroll people during the SEP, the special enrollment period, with the new changes being made next year? And while you were doing it, I did go on here and I'm gonna share
your response.
This. Hold on here. Let me share it because I just pulled it up and it looks like they just released it today, Max. So check this out. Okay. So just today comes out May. You know what? Hold on here. March. Oh no, it came out in March. I'm sorry. I was thinking this was May 10th, and I'm like, we're not even May 10th right now. But so what they're trying to do is they're trying to eliminate a low income SCP because it's getting abused. And what the low income SCP is, it is if a client is within a certain range, then they get a special election to enroll into a plan. Problem is that agents are playing with this range of income and fraudulently creating a special election.
Not good.
And what's ultimately happening, Max, is people are getting enrolled in the plans and they don't even know it. Crazy. And why would an agent do that? Well, they make money by doing this. They enroll, John Smith and his wife, and I've even seen they add 10 kids. Some of these agents, man, how far would they go? Well, they can go pretty darn far in doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing.
Not good.
Not good at all. So Diaz068, what do I think? For me, it doesn't affect me. Okay. Yeah, I may not be able to help people that are under or within that 150%. But, ultimately they should have enrolled when they had the chance, like the rest of the U.S. during the open enrollment. So if you can't get them in, you just can't get them in. Move on to the next guy, pipeline that client out and say, look, I'm sorry, you missed it. Too bad, so sad. Nothing you can do about it. Here's what we'll do. I'm going to help you not miss the open enrollment, which starts November the 1st. Okay, I'm going to help you. So I'm going to put you on my list to call. You're going to be one of the first ones that I call on November the 1st so I can help you. But what do you do now? Well, I'm sorry. You didn't put it on your calendar. I don't know how you could have missed the open enrollment. They've been blasting it all over, during that time frame. That's all people talk about, the open enrollment. What rock were you hiding under that you didn't hear about this?
Well, yeah, but I agree with you. But I mean, just like we talked about earlier, everybody's distracted. Everybody's distracted, man. I mean, it's a big deal. And along these lines, let me ask you this, Luis, because you'd be the perfect guy to ask. So since we're off topic here a little bit, the AEP, SEP for like areas where there's there was natural disasters. I mean, there's a list of those available too, right? On cms.gov.
That is correct. So your job as an agent is to find out what SEPs work. So what you're talking about, Max, there on the disaster, the FEMA disaster, those apply to Medicare.
Okay. But not ACA.
Not ACA. On the ACA side, we have another whole set of SEPs.
Okay.
The ones that I'm thinking offhand right now is, let's not even think. Okay. Here we go. Might as well list them. Why not? You know what? I'm going to go to healthcare.gov. Okay. And I'm going to type in, we'll do it live so people can see, how I do some of this research out here. Let me go share that screen. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're looking at healthcare.gov.
Right.
I'm going to type in here special elections. And this is ACA, guys. This is under 65.
Okay.
All right, come on. I know I typed it. Okay, let's go here maybe to see topics. Let's see here. Let's see. Is there anything here that's a special election? Okay. Change reporting changes. Maybe if I just type in SCP. Okay, there's one. Okay, let's see if we pull up the list. So losing coverage. This is a huge one. So if you're losing coverage and you've lost it within the 6 days, or you will be losing it in the next 60 days, well, that's a special election.
Yeah,
Okay,
like you lost your job or you're getting laid off or whatever, and your insurance is provided through your employer. Yeah, exactly.
That will count if you relocate.
Yeah,
there's a whole list on here.
Relocate, getting married, right?
Yes.
Having a child. That's another one,
there
right?
You go.
Yep. So those I know those four.
Changes in your income.
Yep.
The death of the primary insured.
Right.
I'm doing this thing live. So sometimes when my brain's not thinking 100%, but I know that there's a whole list on here. Well, here we go. You had a baby or adopted. Maybe you're coming off your parents' insurance because you turned 26.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
So there's a whole list of SEPs for the ACA market, and there's a whole nother list of SEPs for the Medicare market. So the one you mentioned is a Medicare SEP.
Right.
There's 5-star, there's chronic, there is relocation if you move from one zip code to another. So yeah, the job of the agent is, once they get a lead, is to figure out, okay, what special election can I utilize? And then if there isn't one, there isn't one. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then you just pipeline them out for open enrollment for ACA or the annual enrollment for Medicare.
Right.
Way to do it. Well, cool, Max. All right. Well, awesome. So guys, again, the title today on today's episode 4 is, if you have a website, what your website should do for you. And ultimately, we want this site to convert leads.
That's it.
Okay. So I'm going to do just a quickie here. I'm going to go back. Episode 1, guys, we talked about leveraging your Google business profile. So if you want to figure out, what are these guys talking about? Google business, how to claim it and how to utilize it. That's number 1. That's episode 1.
Important, critically important, even more so than your website. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Definitely go watch episode 1. Episode 2 is why SEO, search engine optimization, matters for every insurance agent.
Right.
Okay. So if you want to, why is it important? Go watch episode 2. Episode 3, man, you blew me out of the water on this one here, Max. Episode 3 is, I didn't even know, I knew about SEO, but there's also AEO,
right?
Answering the questions, having
you want to be the answer. Your agency, you want it to be the answer, not in a list of answers, the answer. Yep.
Now, didn't I just do that for healthcare.gov? I went to their site I did AEO right there, didn't I? Kind of.
Well, answer engine optimization is more like with large language models or like AI capabilities. I used it in the session that we did on that, or the episode that we did. I talked about Alexa, and I talked about how you'll get an answer instead of a list. So more with when you're asking a question, even by the end of this year, by the end of 2025, it's going to sway more into that. Google's out in front with it. I mean, they're trying as hard as they can to educate their people. And it's happening. 50% of searches right now are, audio. That's 50% of searches right now. So, I mean, you're only going to help yourself by being brilliant at the basics, making sure that your website's right, SEO to the best of your ability, unless you want to spend money on it. AEO, you're prepared for that. So these are all important things.
Understood. And then today, episode 4, talking about what your website needs to have so it converts. And then next week, guys, we will be doing episode number 5. Okay. We're going to be talking about geo-targeting.
Right.
Way over my head. Geo-targeting and why it is important to insurance agents. Super cool. So guys, stay tuned. Make sure you join us next Wednesday, 12 o'clock. We'll be talking about geotagging, what it is, because I have no clue what it is, but I want to know what it is and why it's important to me and to you guys. Max, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Again, guys, if you want to connect with Max, there's his email. Send him an email. Hey, Max, help me out. Look at my website. Hey, can you build me a better one? I want more leads, which usually equates to some more money. Thank you, Max.
Yep. Thank you, Luis. Appreciate all the value you provide everybody. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, man. You're welcome.